All right, looks like we're live, and I'm here surprisingly enough with Davis Arini. How you doing?
You know what? Working my ass off lately, but I'm doing pretty well.
All right, good to hear. Good to hear. So last night there was a little bit of it was a stream in which you got mentioned. If you want to quickly address that, and we can move on.
Yes, yes. So I had to explain what happened. About a week ago, after my live stream, we were having the post-stream chat between myself, Haythrun, Bulwarker, and Tom Bombadil, and John Steele. And John Steele decided to be incredibly insulting to everybody. It was a disagreement over an interpretation of a movie from 20 years ago. Nobody cared about it, except John Steele, who then threatened to fly out to where Bulwarker is to solve the problem with violence, or however he put it. He was incredibly rude. He was speaking over everybody. He was, again, these are my guests. He was disrespecting them. And he calls himself a heathen. These are people within the heathen community that have earned they've earned a modicum of respect. Quite frankly, anybody that's my guest, whoever it is, deserves respect. And if you are showing up and you're insulting them and attacking them and saying we should blood eagle this person, which Steele has done to some Catholics on my stream, you are completely out of line. That's inappropriate behavior. And the heathens, they weren't insulted, okay? They weren't crying. They weren't angry. They were just saying, this is out of line. He's got no business speaking to anybody like that, certainly not us when he claims to be of the heathen faith. And so they deliberated, how do we deal with this? And I sent a message to Steele saying, dude, you were out of line. If I went up to a nun and called her a gash, and then went up to a priest and said, hey, buddy, you want to fight me? I would be in a bad place as a Catholic. I don't know what happens to a heathen when he does that. I would apologize if I were you, Steele. And he said, wait, are they threatening me? Of course, he threatens other people, so everything must be a threat. Their judgment was simply that they will not have anything to do with him until he apologizes. That's it. And it was going to be private. Nobody wanted to make this public. Nobody wanted to embarrass Steele in public. Steele, you could apologize. You could have apologized for being a complete asshole, for coming in and speaking over everybody and knocking over the fine china and breaking it, then farting and then storming out and calling yourself the boss. You could have apologized for that. You chose to escalate it by telling the Bechtloff that I was threatening him with magic missiles from Haythrun or some crap like that. Listen, all this is, at the end of the day, Steele came in, acted like a jerk, and he was told that if you want to participate, you have to stop acting like a jerk. That's it.
Well, like I said last night, obviously John can be abrasive. He admitted that himself last night on the stream. But the purpose of the stream, what caught my attention was, I mean, if somebody is supposedly, threatening shimi curses on people and all, that's just fucking funny. So I had to have him on.
Oh, good Lord.
But if that's not what, look, I don't know what happened. So, he had his say, you had your say. That's topic's done then. Or
you know what? It's what I was trying to say to him. It's like, I'll tell you what. Up north, we got ice roads up north. All right, here in the frozen land of Kanukistan, it gets so damn cold that giant lakes freeze over, and we build roads over them during the winter. Now, these roads have a posted speed limit of 40 miles per hour, which seems ridiculous because you could go a lot faster. It's nice gravelly ice. The reason you don't go faster is because that higher speed will build up a wave of pressure underneath the ice until suddenly you're driving along and the ice you're driving on shatters and your vehicle falls into sub-zero water. All I was saying to Steele is that you send out negative karma into the universe, it eventually comes and bites you in the ass. if you act like a jerk, especially if you profane holy symbols, he says he's a heathen. I don't know what the hell he is. He says he's a heathen, and you're mouthing off of Vidki and Avala. It's probably not what you should be doing. And I said to him, like, listen, I'm a Catholic. I'm protected by Christ. I've got my Medal of St. Benedict. That protects me. Steele, you don't have any of that. You don't have anybody or anything protecting you. Maybe you should play nice with others. And he responded, are you threatening me? But listen, Bechtloff, the real reason I wanted to be here is to assuage concerns that, well, first of all, white knighting. Or what, I don't know, what are the concerns? Bechtloff, I still love you. You are my brother in Christ. I just wish you'd stop attacking me so much.
Well, I don't think I'm attacking you that much. I'm attacking the Catholic Church a great deal. But you specifically, I've actually tried to avoid attacking too much. But yeah, I don't quite like you. Well, two things. I noticed right away. When I was on your stream a while back, I said something to the effect of, like, you were talking about fighting the corruption in the Catholic Church. And I kept hammering home, like, how do you intend to do that? Because it seems to me that just the way that the church is structured, you pragmatically, I don't think lay people have much of a way to fight it. And theologically, it doesn't seem like they have much of a, I guess, philosophical grounds to oppose their leadership. And you were telling me, no, that's not. And then I hear you on a stream say that it would be that you're not going to, I can't remember your exact wordings, but something along the lines of it would be presumptuous of you to fight it. So,
okay, I'm not going to address the earlier parts because that could be a 45-minute theological conversation.
Well, yeah, the point is, it sounded like,
and
there was another one where, I kind of even, when we had the initial spat, I made a snide comment about, you like hanging out with pagans more than Protestants. And, I even walked that back. I said, it might have been too harsh. But then, people in the Discord send me a clip of you saying that from your show, like on Sunday. And it just seems like twice.
Well, let me explain the second thing you just said, then the first thing.
Like twice, it just seems like I got kind of proven right there. And not in a way I liked.
You know why I like hanging out with pagans more than Protestants? Because they are genuinely trying to build bridges with me. When we run into disagreements with each other, and believe me, we do. We run into very, very passionate disagreements. We seek out common ground, and we seek out language that doesn't insult either person and helps us continue doing what we're doing. Which leads to the second portion, why I personally am not trying to reform the Catholic Church. There are Catholics doing that. All right, you know about Church Militant. They are doing an amazing job. I have nothing but good things to say about Church Militant. I support them completely. I don't believe that's what I'm called to do. The church I go to, I suspect my priest might be a saint. But that doesn't mean that he's a theologian. This man has the gift of perception. You go in and you confess the fact that you're overeating, and he says, wait, were you alienated from your mother? And you're like, yeah, what the hell does that have to do with overeating? The guy's amazing. The guy has blessings from God, but he is not a theologian. And me going into my church and giving these high-minded theological lectures about whatever, he doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about. Nobody else at church knows what the hell I'm talking about. And that is not my mission. That is not why God put me here. He did not make me a theologian. Like, I know a little bit about theology, but I'm not a theologian. We both know that Pastor Tom knows the Bible far better than I do.
Well, it is his job.
Exactly. And my job on this earth right now is to give men hope, to tell them about that place that we're going to tell them that no, Western civilization is not dead, that no, it is not hopeless, that there is a reason, there is a shining city. Do not fall into porn and sex addiction and all these other traps of modernity. You know, we look at the world right now, and it is hopeless. Our enemy is already won. They control YouTube. They control Twitter. They control absolutely everything. And a few upstarts talking about NPCs, that's enough for them to get the SPLC to label NPC as a hate term. They've already won. Except they haven't. My purpose here is not to argue the 30 Years' War or to go wage a war against the heathens as if I were Charlemagne. And it's not to go argue theology at my Catholic parish. That's not what I'm called to do. What I'm called to do is to find the men of grit and virtue that want more than porn and the Skinner box and endless sex with endless women, that none of it which produces offspring, men that want dead-end jobs so they can afford their entertainments and distract themselves. They slide into the abyss. No, we are going to do something. We're going to build something. We're not going to have stupid tiki torch rallies. That's not what we're doing, guys. What we are doing is going to require a lot of hard work from every single one of you. And it's going to be thankless work for a very long time. But our descendants will remember us. And whatever the hell is going on with the bishops in Rome, I can't do anything about that. Church militant, I think they can. I think they can do something. I can't. It's not what I'm called to do. And me trying to have opinions on everything when I go to church, that's like the atheist at Thanksgiving dinner. Dude, shut the fuck up. Be glad to be around your family. I go to church and I'm glad to be around Christians. That's it. I keep my mouth shut. I'm not here to mouth off all the time. I'm here to try and actually lead men to something good. So that's why I said I'm no longer fighting that fight.
Well, I understand not wanting to fight in church. Obviously, I'm more evangelical, and I have tons of political disagreements with my fellow evangelicals, and I don't necessarily want to have those arguments in a small group. But all that said, the biggest thing that drives me up the damn wall with so many of the Catholics is the biggest thing church militant is doing is they're actually looking at it. They're actually paying attention to it. The vast majority of Catholics that are much more angry at me for bringing it up than they are at the people doing it, it kind of staggers me. You know, I said on here once before, I said, you know, at this point, I think if you're giving money to the Catholic Church and your Catholic Church is still connected to the Vatican and some of the money's working its way up there, at this point, I have to think you're sharing a small amount of the guilt. You're funding it. Yeah, and that's just basic moral math to me. And I got a lot of people mad at me. Nobody wanted to tell me how it was wrong, but a lot of people were mad at me for it.
Bechtloff, the Catholic Church doesn't need money. All the money that Catholics give goes to run hospitals in the United States. It goes to run homeless shelters. It goes to... Do you know how the Vatican makes money?
That's not where all of it goes.
Let me finish. Do you know how the Vatican makes money? They run a usurious bank. that has no business existing and completely goes against all, it goes against scripture, it goes against theology, it goes against everything. Okay, whether or not somebody gives $20 to the collection plate has no effect whatsoever on the Catholic Church. You're pointing your guns at the wrong people. Now, point two, you're saying the wider, I reject the financial argument because it's overly simplistic. That's like saying stop paying taxes and the American government will stop murdering Iraqis.
Well, no, I can't stop paying taxes. Believe me, I would if I could. If the federal government asked me how much I feel led to give, the answer would be the finger.
And it wouldn't stop them from killing Iraqis. They'd get the money out of you another way. Now, point number two. You're asking, why doesn't the average Catholic rise up against this incredible corruption within the church? I am privy to information about a particular Protestant apocalyptic cult in the United States. And this is a very, very major one. I'm privy to information confirming the fact that the leader himself is a sex addict. He is the complete opposite of what he pretends to be. And he has militant plans with what he's going to do when the United States falls and he takes over. The person that gave me this information tried to inform other people in this branch about what was going on, and every single one of them turned a blind eye. Guess what, brother? The normies don't want to admit what's going on. Doesn't matter if they're Catholic, doesn't matter if they're Protestant, doesn't matter if they're Jewish. The normies don't want to admit what's going on. And so are we going to stand outside of the Bilderberg group waving signs and screaming about their corruption? Or are we going to start building bridges with one another and creating a real society? Because we have no society right now. There's no guidance for men. There is no hope. There is no trust. There is nothing but snark and narcissism.
Well,
are we going to get ego points for going and waving signs in front of the Bilderberg group and in front of the Vatican and in front of all the corrupt megachurches? Or are we going to start creating something of value?
Well, there's a few points to the financial aspect. I mean, it doesn't necessarily, it's not like all the corruption within the Catholic Church exists solely in the Vatican. A news story I brought up a couple weeks ago was in the New York diocese. I think I might have I think it's just for New York, but it might be the Northeast, whatever. I think it's the New York diocese. Spent $2 million lobbying the New York state government to make it easier to not be held accountable for all the sex crimes coming out.
People get the government they just.
But yeah, that's fine. But the point is, people in New York are given that money. And I don't know where all that money went, and I'm sure a lot of it went to hospitals and all this other great stuff, but I know where $2 million of it went.
Bechtloff, these are the same Catholics in New York that were denouncing one of the greatest exorcists of all time as being non-Catholic. Yeah, the Catholic Church is full of shitty people. So is the Protestant Church.
But my point is, if you're like a trad Catholic, if you're a switched-on Catholic and you're sitting there in New York, you know, that just is where you live. I don't understand how you can put money in the plate.
Except I'm not a trad Catholic justifying all of these hypocrites. Show me the trad Catholic that's saying, yeah, these liberal Catholics in New York that denounce all the good Catholic priests, they're fine.
Well, again, the complaint wasn't directed at you specifically. I just said, you know, if you're still sitting there putting the money in the plate, you're funding a bad thing at this point. You need to cut the money off.
Listen, Bechtloff, the financial argument is overly simplistic, and the idea that trad Catholics are supporting those anti-Catholic Catholics, that's a straw man. We're not. We are very opposed to them. Some of us, like Church Militant, are actively doing it. Me, I'm doing something else. But neither of us are supporting those monstrous hypocrites. And those hypocrites will receive their judgment in the second life.
Well, yes, that I have no doubt, but like I said, this is just it's just a point I made, and everybody got mad at me for making it. Nobody wanted to tell me this is the closest thing to an argument I've heard against it, because nobody else wanted to. Everybody else wanted to just say it's just guilt by association, and I said, no, you're funding something.
I don't want to argue with you about. There are so many more better things we could be doing than arguing. I would liken this argument. Yeah, like in the United States, there's tax protesters who point out that allegedly the income tax is anti-constitutional, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the thing: the income tax is constitutional so long as they have the power to say it is.
Well, yes, that's the thing. That's why I don't equate the two. I mean, when you give money to your church, you're doing so willingly. People have brought up the tax thing, and I said, well, I give money to the federal government because if I don't, a man with a gun will put me in a cage and seize all my assets.
Everybody in America rebelled and refused to pay their income tax. They would have to resign.
Yes, and if I could get together with a group of enough people to do it, I'd sign me up. But for now, I'm just the one guy, and if I don't pay my taxes, somebody with a gun will throw me in a cage and seize all my assets. I do, however, pay a man each year whose job it is to make sure I pay as little taxes as possible. So I do that.
And I go to church, and when I can afford it, I give them money because my priest needs to live. That money goes to my church. It goes to charities. The Vatican doesn't need it. Okay? It's like refusing to go pay $50 to see the Queen show up is not going to undermine the monarchy. If we're going to do something to fix the Catholic Church, it's refusing to put $20 in the plate. All that's going to do is shut down your local parish, and not even that. All right, it's not. Bechtloff, that's not going to accomplish anything. What accomplishes something is people living virtuous lives, is people building real communities, is people actually following the scripture and following the words of God. That's what builds things, is obeying God. And that's what I'm trying to do. I don't know how to fix the Catholic Church. Hopefully Church Militant can fix it. But throwing shade on all of the Catholics, that's not fair, that's not constructive, that sows division between men of God. One of the things I have found with both Haithroon and Bolverker is that they follow natural law. We have theological disagreements, but the theological disagreements, they are greater theological disagreements than you and I have, and yet they both embrace natural law. They embrace the good, and they acknowledge they wouldn't call it God. They would call it the supreme being. They would call it they call it source, which sounds like hippie bullshit, but that's not how, they don't mean it like those dirty hippies in the yoga pants. Though the yoga pants hippies embrace materialism and they call it source or the force or whatever as an excuse. No, this man and this woman, they actually embrace God. They use a different term for it, but they embrace it. And if somebody acknowledges God, I can do business with them. If somebody merely acknowledges virtue, if they were an agnostic atheist, but they acknowledge that there's something about math that's bigger than us, and there's something about good that's bigger than us. I don't know what it is, but I believe in virtue. I believe in Aristotle. I can do business with that person. And these days, our enemies aren't at the gates, they're inside the gates. And Bechtloff, there's a comment earlier that I want to read. Ian McDonald said, I know I was about to blow my brains out last month, and both you, me and you, Bechtloff, our works helped him through that bad bump, and he loves us both. We be bigger than throwing shade upon one another because of you can't control the Protestants, and I can't control the Catholics. We are trying to make the best out of a bad situation right now.
In the chat here, I see Stephen Williams says, so lumping all Protestants together by claiming they have no tradition isn't throwing shade.
be fair, I said that in response to you trolling in the comments section, Bechtloff. And oh, by the way, I said that on a certain person's stream that's notorious for starting arguments for the sake of arguments. I don't want to argue with you. I know we have theological disagreements, but I think what we agree on is far greater than what we disagree on. The right isn't even the right term for it, okay? Because we're not right-wing per se. We are sane. We acknowledge objective reality versus our enemies that are completely insane and they're flipping out over a term NPC.
That's such a good meme.
Oh, it's amazing. That's, by the way, that's a topic for my Sunday live stream. Everybody should tune in. It's amazing how NPC has blown up. Yeah, we've got disagreements, but the left can't meme. All right, they really can't meme. And all of the attacks on the right that come from the left started off on the right. Do you remember when Ricky Vaughn was doxxed by a whole bunch of like people on the right over on Gab?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The leftists couldn't get their act together to dox him. It took people on the right. One of the things that I'm going to have to deal with this at some point, I'm not looking forward to it, is a lot of the people in the heathen community think that Rushfi is some sort of evil Dindu migrant rapist. He's not. And Roosh is I was talking about the bad karma for attacking people. Attacking Roosh is bad karma. Roosh has flaws. We all have flaws. There's a lot to criticize about Roosh. But if you demonize Roosh, you're doing the left's work for them. If you meme against people on the right, you're doing the left's work for them. They can't destroy us. Only we can destroy ourselves. And we're doing such a goddamn good job of that.
Well, Roosh is one of those figures I almost use as a litmus test that almost 99% of the time when somebody's attacking them, it's usually because they're a big old faggot. I put Medicare in that same camp where if somebody's like, oh, I don't like this guy, it's like, well, you're probably a faggot. I mean, it's not that they're perfect people that you can't criticize. It's just 99% of the time when I hear someone going after them, it's because they're a big old faggot.
I think I can understand the hatred of Roosh. He is a socially acceptable outlet for anger over how casual sex has destroyed women. It's absolutely destroyed women. There's so few good women out there. And there's a lot of anger over that. And here's Roosh sleeping with all these women. Like, he's an effect, not a cause, but you can blame the effect. And the other easy outlet, right, is people are very angry that our countries that we are being replaced demographically. And here's this very popular, I believe he's Iranian, this Iranian man who is apparently successful with the white women's, and you can also hate him without being called racist. So he's a convenient outlet, but he's the wrong outlet. He's like, God damn it, people. This is what they want us doing. They want the Protestants and the Catholics hating each other and arguing all the time. The Catholic Church officially states that though we believe Protestants are wrong, Protestants can go to heaven. That Protestants, if they are wrong in good faith, they will go to heaven. The Catholic Church also says that all faiths have some good in them. And us arguing only helps our enemies. The reason I stopped speaking to you, Bechtloff, wasn't because I was trying to throw you under the bus or because I hate you or anything like that. It's because I refuse to argue with you. I've been taking a similar stance. Okay, this is a little bit personal. I've been taking a similar stance with my family. There's a lot of hurt. I think I've mentioned before, my parents are divorced. There's a lot of hurt in my family. There's a lot of anger. And I will no longer feed that by arguing with them. One of the things I have been praying for, not as often as I should, but I have been praying for it, is the virtue of silence. Is being able to shut my damn fool mouth and just love other people. And that goes for you. That goes for my family. That goes for my heathen friends.
Well, Davis, part of the problem with that, in my eyes, is this isn't Thanksgiving dinner. This is YouTube. This is, I mean, I forgive me for how rude this sounds, but I haven't been listening to your show the past several weeks, not because you and I were on the outs, but because I've considered it incredibly boring. You have Hadroon who like, I don't understand how people can listen to several hours of everybody agreeing with each other. And a lot of it, I feel like you tried to get away from the arguments. So you sort of went back to, I guess, where everybody agrees. And it just sort of strikes me as really Manosphere 101 circa 2013 or something. It almost feels like a regression. I mean, this is YouTube. Remember when you had that furry on for some reason? Like, I was trying to message you because I wanted to hop into your show and take that furry side, just because I thought that he, she, whatever it was, needed some help. And I thought it would have made for good radio. Like, I know, like, I think Tom Bombadil, when he was trying to be a tattletale or something on Discord, sent you a message, like a screen cap of that, like, he was plotting against you. It's like, no, I just thought it would be fun on the bun. I thought it would be good radio, good listening. Like, I'm not all that interested in building a lot of stuff right now, because I've seen a whole lot of ego the past few years. I've seen a whole lot of Sargons huffing their own farts, and a lot of guys that want to build the liberalist party or whatever other dumb gay shit they come up with. And I don't know where I'm at right now. I'm trying to get my own life together as best I can, and I'm just trying to put on an entertaining show for my humble little audience. And I don't know, man.
How blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, nor stand in the path of sinners, nor sit in the seat of scoffers. Bechtloff.
Yeah, but I'm running a show.
I've got no interest in being the best scoffer on YouTube. I've got no interest in winning internet points for making the best sarcastic remark about whatever cringeworthy event just happened.
Well, I have an interest in entertaining my audience, is what that boils down. I mean, I'm getting a humble, small. Obviously, I don't have. Some people in the chat said I don't have super chats. Yeah, there's no super chats on here. You can go to Streamlabs, but I don't have. This channel isn't monetized. It's my backup channel. But I don't. I get a few bucks a month on Patreon, and people, just this past week, somebody sent me Mega Man 11. People pay me, essentially. A small amount of people pay me to entertain them, to give them, people work hard for a living, and then they come here, and a small amount of them want to hear me ramble on about shit. So I want it to be entertaining. That it's not about me. It's not about feeding my own ego and look at the snide comment I had. Oh, aren't I so clever? It's just like, it's about having fun. It's about entertaining people. I mean, that's
the response I've been getting suggests that my channel is still entertaining. I just don't want it to be blood sports.
That's fine. I look, I don't know if your audience is fine with it. I said what I brought up personally. I found it to be very boring. I found it to be it didn't have that spark that it once did. No, it did not necessarily blood sports, but that, like, I don't know.
You should stop posting memes or allowing your fans to post memes comparing the rosary to anal beads, and then you and I can be friends again and come on my show. Again, blesses the man who does not sit in the seat of the scoffers.
Okay. My defense. I posted a picture on Gab, and I'm making fun of the Pope. Okay, I'm making fun of the Pope. I'm not making fun of the rosary. I think the rosary is kind of silly, in all fairness. but I think a lot of Catholic traditions are. But no, I'm not making fun of the rosary. I'm making fun of the fags in the Vatican. And I'm saying, it looks like the Pope put out a new rosary design. And yeah, it's a picture of anal beads. Now, I have people on my Discord who have ran with that and mutated that meme quite a bit. But I also don't want to police them. I'm not going to go on my Discord. As long as nobody's doxing people, as long as nobody's putting anything illegal there, I don't tell people what they can put on the Discord.
I think we need a higher standard. Again, I was mentioning how a lot of the guys that follow heathenism think Roosh is a rapist. Well, where did that meme come from? It was not the left that bought his books and scoured the pages of all 18 of them to find a quote that could be misquoted out of context to make him sound like a rapist. It was somebody on the right that did that. So, I do expect a higher standard of behavior from my audience. And maybe it's less fun. All right. I don't think you laugh, you lose threads on 4chan making fun of starving African children are going to save the West.
But that's just it. I don't...
There's a lot of room for fun. But we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard, and we need to stop destroying one another.
I'm very, very weary anymore about crusades to save the West. Okay, Sargon is out saving the West with his liberalist party, and it's a joke.
All I'm trying to do is help individuals be better and offer support to be better.
And I try to do that myself with my show. I've given lots of lifestyle advice to the limited amount I know, but at the end of the day, I'm just a guy that likes to make jokes, and if somebody can come home from a shitty day at work when the boss has been up their ass over dumb shit, and they can come home and they can listen to me make a goofy joke about Mega Man 11 or something, then that's a service, man.
I've never thrown shade on you.
That's a calling. I want to entertain people.
I've never thrown shade on you for enjoying what you. First of all, by the way, Bechtloff, have you ever played Star Control 2?
I've not. No.
Okay, I'm playing it right now. It was they open sourced it. You need to go play that game. It's an amazing freaking game. And everybody in the audience, go play Star Control 2. It's awesome. And it's free. Okay, just Google it. It's free. Go play it. It's probably the best game ever made. It's that good. I've never thrown shade on you for that. I know I bitch about Marvel movies, but I'm not throwing shade on you for that. I'm throwing shade at Hollywood for that. We can have both. Okay, but there's we need to be more loyal to each other. We need to go out of our way to be kind to one another. The Christians took over Rome. The Christians were just a bunch of slaves and losers and but they were kind and loyal to one another. And I'm not saying we need to be serious all the goddamn time.
Well, a good example of humor cutting through defenses. You see articles on Christian sites about how, you have to, you better go out there and have kids. Are you married? Well, you better have kids. You better have kids. You have an obligation to have kids. You see these articles. Now, I don't think that every person is called to have kids. I don't think even every married couple is called to have kids, but most are. Most people would be happier having kids, and they bought into some bullshit that they'd be happier collecting stuff. And that's not the case for most people. However, most of these articles you see, on the break points and stuff like that, it comes across as, hey, you stop having fun. I'm miserable. You damn well better be miserable too. And nobody responds to that. Instinctively, even if you agree with them, you kind of like, whoa, no, I don't want to be like you. But then you see something on Facebook. There's a page on Facebook called Cool Wine Ant. And it's these memes of like the aging Sex in the City whore who never had a family, who just rode the cock carousel her whole life. And maybe she's really well off financially.
But she's a born-again virgin.
And she's, you know, she's popular with her nephews and nieces, but she's miserable. She's just drinking box wine all the time. She's completely hollowed inside. Those memes do a much better job of convincing people, hey, maybe you really probably should really consider having a family while you're still young, than a million articles out there like, hey, you stop having fun. Like,
we agree on that, man.
And let me clarify. That's why I always approach things with more humor. And you know what? When you try and be funny, sometimes you're gonna step over the line. I've always said you got to give the jester a lot of leeway in society.
Well, and it wasn't.
Now, and as I said, I didn't make the memes about you with the anal beads. That was somebody else. Like I said, I'm not gonna police my Discord.
Profaning holy symbols of any faith is usually a bad idea. You know, I got it, humor, right? Listen, Bechtloff, I didn't stop talking to you because of that. I stopped talking to you because I wasn't going to have... We kept having these arguments, and I love you, man. I'm not going to have angry arguments about something that happened several hundred years ago, and neither you nor I can do anything about.
Well, in all fairness, I was actually about ready to message you and say, look, I'm going to back off a bit, and we're getting a little too heated before the falling out, because, you know, that live stream with Tom, I realized things are getting out of hand. Even I realized that. So.
Well, it looks like I just pulled the gun before you did. I think we might have resolved that difference. I don't want to speak too prematurely, but we may have resolved that difference. There's something. Okay, I want to address something, because the Sargons and the Richard Spencers, they're going to save the fucking West and whatever. I want to be clear about what I'm trying to do. First of all, guys, look at Alinsky. If you guys are interested in the... You don't have to be interested in this. I'm interested in this. If you're interested in the machinations of power, go watch Frame Game, and he's posted some brilliant videos of Alinsky. Now, what Alinsky did... Now, Alinsky, by the way, he outright worshipped Satan. He once referred to the Christian martyrs that died in Rome. He said, Father, forgive them, because his Father is not above. Alinsky was an evil son of a bitch, but he was very, very effective and smart. And what Alinsky did is he designed a methodology, a system, and he would go around to anybody that was opposed to the dream of America, anybody that wanted to undermine the dream of America. He would go up to them, and use his honeyed tongue to say that, hey, man, you deserve a piece of the pie. And then he would explain the structure for destroying America for great fun and profit to every single group. He did it to the Native Americans. He did it to the blacks. He did it to the white working class. Didn't matter. He's like, here's the system. He wasn't running a political party the way that, you know, Sargon or Richard Spencer are trying to do. He was giving people a system to help them destroy the United States for profit. What I'm trying to do is give people, here's a system. You're not answerable to me. I'm not in charge. You're in charge. You use the system, you will build something of worth. You will start rebuilding a little pocket of civilization right there. You will make your life better. You will make the lives of those around you better, etc., etc. I'm Johnny Appleseed. That's it. That's what Haythrun and Bulwarker are trying to do. So yeah, I know I'm a pretty serious guy. Maybe too serious sometimes. But this is serious work that we're engaged in.
I'm going to scroll through the chat, read a little bit of the chat. Let's scroll up. Let's see. There's a bunch of people saying, hey. Let's see. There's that Ian McDonald comment you mentioned.
And brother, God bless you. God bless you for doing that. All right, we helped. You made the choice, not us.
Let's see. Somebody says the problem with moral victories is your enemies are still around to keep festering or pestering you, I guess, or worse, plotting their revenge. I'll get a little closer here. Witchcraft goes against the natural law, though.
They all right. Let me briefly address that. First of all, it says poisoners, although poisoner probably meant in a supernatural aspect back then as well as physical poisoning. Neither of them do that. Okay, they are not poisoners. I know Haythrun and I can't, like, we will get into big arguments because we use different words to mean the exact same thing. It's quite lovely when we find out we agree. But no, she is not a witch in that sense, not in the sense intended by that part of the Bible.
Well, I mean, it's hard to nail any kind of paganism down because there's a million different things. I mean, people, at least Christianity has a source book, but paganism is just, a lot of times modern paganism is just people went to the buffet of European myths and filled the plate.
That's not what they're doing. There is the Havamal. The Havamal is, I don't think you could find great disagreement between it and Psalms. It's basically the same thing. It's just be honorable, be decent, keep your word, treat guests appropriately, etc., etc. And also, like, be tough when you got to be. And when there's a woman there, make love to
her. Somebody says arguing with Catholics is half the fun of being Protestant. That's true.
Well, that's not good. If
I would argue more with Orthodox, but they're hard to find.
They're smart enough not to argue.
Let's see. Somebody says Bechtloff has a point. The Sunday shows I enjoyed the most is when Bechtloff or others were bringing counterpoints to the show, and there was back and forth. Yeah, that was my main point. It doesn't have to be blood sports, but I wouldn't want somebody on for 3 hours to sit around and agree with each other too much. That's just, the disagreement is where the show is.
And that's the thing. There's a fine line. We need to criticize each other. We all know that. We all agree upon that. But there's this fine line where the disagreement turns into blood sports. And the only person that profits off of blood sports is whoever the hell is collecting the super chats and the left.
I don't know. I think you're too hard on blood sports. I think blood sports has done some good.
One of the things Frame Game has been pointing out, and I agree with them, is that, listen, Jordan Peterson is not our friend. But Jordan Peterson is attacking the left, and he's taking a lot of heat from the left. So don't trust Jordan Peterson. He will throw all of us under the bus. But as long as he is fighting the left, let him don't undermine him while he's fighting our enemies.
Well, in defense of blood sports, I mean, obviously it's served the purpose of being morning radio to people. Again, I think entertainment is its own, fun is its own justification. Obviously, as with anything else, if you take it too far, if you don't balance it against other things in life. But, there's a lot of people who, they work a construction job and they're able to play, so back when it was good, the morning kumite on their phone or something. And it was the new Howard Stern for them, and it got them through their workday. And that's its own justification. But also then there's, hell, look at the good work Jim's done, exposing pedophiles. He exposed Ross. That guy's probably in prison now. Hopefully he exposed, here recently, he's exposing, a lot of the shit going on in the furry community of, child grooming and murdering puppies and kittens and shit like that. That's a good. And yeah, it's sensationalism and it's a big old spectacle, but it shines a light where a light needs shined. And hell, Ralph's done a lot of good.
I'm a big fan of Ralph.
Hell, he just raised $26,000 for St. Jude's a couple weekends ago. So, I don't think it's quite fair to throw blood sports under the bus the way a lot of people have.
I'm not. Again, virtue is the mean between two extremes.
And I think the bad actors in blood sports inevitably work themselves out because they're just like, look, if you got a blood sports show going and you've got the momentum going to where the stories come to you, the guests come to you, all you got to do is not fuck it up. All you got to do is just keep doing it, collect the money, and not fuck it up. And it's amazing how many people couldn't do that.
I think it's like watching Jerry Springer. It makes you a worse person, and it makes them a worse person. Well,
like I said, when you get them, I think the bad actors in it weeded themselves out. You know, Tonka, he's turned himself into a joke. Bechtloff turned himself into a joke.
I don't know who them are.
Yeah, well, a lot of the ones that were bad actors, they turned themselves into jokes. Because again, it's once you're on top, it's the easiest thing in the world to stay there. Assuming you don't stick your head up your own ass, assuming you don't have a big old ego. All you got to do is just keep doing it. Once you got the momentum, once you're like, where's Ralph's at right now? Once you're big enough that the stories come to you, the guests come to you, all you got to do is keep doing it. And it's amazing how many people can't handle that.
I still prefer to see people building one another up than tearing one another down.
Well, sometimes things need torn down.
Oh, they're believe me. When that time comes, I don't shy away. Yeah. But I prefer to see things built up.
I mean, I don't know if you follow your old buddy Sargon, but you know he wants to bring back Gamergate.
Oh goodness, nobody learned the lessons from that.
Let's bring back Gamergate. He approached Jim and Ralph about it, and it's just wow, that guy lost his fucking mind.
You know, I saw a really good bit of advice, which was be nice until you have the power to be mean. And I think the problem is that we're getting a little bit too high on our own supply. We get a little bit of power, and then we decide we're going to tear down everybody else on YouTube and look at how fucking powerful I am. And, oh, yeah, accomplished nothing. How about we get some real power? We get some real power, and then we make a good society that builds people up. And we only tear down the real monsters. Just my idea.
Let's see. Somebody says I met a Wiccan. She was just an obese pothead.
Oh, 90% of them are.
See, I'm old enough to remember when they were skinny little goth girls.
90% of Christians are, I love Jesus, Jesus loved me. 90% of them, they're publishing. Do you know this is a thing that exists? Archie comic books where the Archie friends are hanging out at the beach, and then some weirdo walks over and says, by the way, Archie and friends, do you know that you're saved by Jesus Christ? Most religious people are cringeworthy as shit, regardless of religion. And I don't know, maybe that works for some people, okay? Like God bless them. God bless you if a Jesus Archie comic book saved your soul. I'm glad of it. That's not what I do for entertainment.
Let's see. Somebody says, Landshark, I watch Arini all the time. I enjoy his work. I don't miss anything you brought to the table. I want more serious content, and Protestants insulting Catholics disgust me. Well, okay, cool. You know, I also don't own a big boy suit, so.
Well, I don't think insulting each other adds anything. I think it's pointless.
Somebody says, so you're okay with taking advice from demon worshippers?
They don't worship demons. They use different names, but they worship the same things I do.
I don't know if I'd go that far. But I also wouldn't necessarily say every false religion is worshiping a demon. I think most false religions are just man-made. Let's see. I used to be Protestant, but even then I didn't like the way you just brush off and insult Catholics. Well, I mean, maybe it's just my perspective, but I definitely I definitely see the opposite of that. I see a whole lot of one true church sparking. I see a whole lot of haha. You guys have a guitar in your worship service.
Oh God, they've got a guitar at mine. So us Catholics are just as bad. Like Bechtloff, I'm not saying that doesn't exist. I am saying though that you're going to find assholes all over the internet. So anybody that's going my true church and making fun of Catholic or Protestants all the time, it's dude, you got a grain of salt. Please give it a grain of salt.
Same guy who had a demon comment says, I like Arini too and serious discussions, but I'm not going to listen to anyone who is deliberate violation of the first commandment telling me how I need to think and live my life. Is that the no other gods before me? I always get the order wrong.
I think so. I mean, we don't got Pastor Tom here.
Yeah, I can't remember the order off the top of my head. Sorry, I'm not quite that off. I didn't get raised in the church. I didn't do sword drills. Okay, I can't remember the order. I can name all the 10 commandments, but they're not going to be in order. They're going to be in the order they pop into my head.
Hey, Thrune, I don't want to speak for her, but I think it's fair to say that she acknowledges that there is one source of truth, period. There is one God, and there are self-serving lies. There's one God, and there is one, and all lies are the same. There's one truth, and all lies boil down to the same thing. So, and again, this is
Heroic Fool says, if you worship anything other than God, it's a demon, whether real or created. Actually, I think there's Vox Day, I first heard coin this, and it rang true to me. There's 3 types of false gods. There's a false god that is some sort of supernatural entity, presumably a demon, that's gaining false worship. There's a false god we made up. I think Allah would be the real entity, and say the Greek gods, for example, would be just ones we made up. And then there's the more metaphorical false god, which is the most common form of idolatry, where it's just somebody's taken to making a god per se out of just something. It could be sex, power, money. It could even be really, really good things like family, tradition, their country, their race, whatever.
Good. Bechtloff,
so that would be the 3 types of false gods. I don't think they're all some literal entity.
Can I be a shit for a second?
Okay.
You Protestants are the ones that pointed out that no man upon earth can declare who is and is not a worshiper of Christ. So who the hell are you Protestants to say that the pagans aren't worshiping Christ? Does the Protestant Pope say it?
Well, I would say that the pagans say they're not worshiping Christ.
No, they use a different name. I'm just saying. I see virtue and goodness in them.
I think there can be a lot of virtue and goodness in the unsaved. I think sometimes there could be more than in the saved. I don't.
So should we hate them?
I don't say we should hate them.
Should we shun them for not being saved?
I didn't say that either. I have tons of people. I think what I hear on my Discord from people that have complained about it, and I think it's a fair point, is I have tons of people on. Anybody can call into this show practically, and I don't care. But there's a bit of a difference between someone I just have on the show and a co-host. I think there's a bit of an implied, more of an implied. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you this. I've been going through a really, really difficult time over the past couple months. A really difficult time. And Hey Thrune has been the one rock that's been bolstering my faith.
That's that I could see how somebody could find that a lot kind of concerning.
She likes, she endorses, she loves that I love Christ. She is not converting me. Far from it.
Okay. I mean, I can't. I don't know what's going on there, but okay. I just.
Like my co-host. She's a very good friend to me.
Let's see. Landshark, I didn't mean to insult, but when I said I don't miss anything you brought to the table, also they worship Logos. Jesus was the Logos. And I don't care if you insulted me in the chat. Don't worry about it. Who cares? Like, go ahead. Call me a faggot. I don't care. That's trust me, it's okay. You know, you don't have to watch your tongue in the chat. You don't have to watch your tongue on this channel. That's
can I respond to something? This multicultural, all faiths are the same crap as BS. Dude, that's not what I'm doing. Fuck, we've got a word for that in the Catholic Church. I'm with the young Pope on this. I'm done with that. That's not what I'm doing at all. I'm looking for people that walk the talk. So few Christians walk the talk. I'm looking for people that walk the talk. If they walk the talk, and the talk might not be identical to mine, but it's equatable to mine, and they walk it, all right, I can do business with that person.
Let's see. Everyone is a good friend until they're not. Fair enough.
By the way, I had some really good laughs at the memes coming from your channel. Was this on your channel where friendships ended with Protestants? Now paganism is my best friend.
Yes. Well, somebody said something about like how she's converted you to paganism, and I said like I turned myself into a pagan, Morty. I'm Pagan Davis. And then I said, somebody get me a pickle Rick with Davis's face. So yeah, I like doing the memes on there. So I just, and yeah, the people on the Discord are fucking fire.
Me charging with the actors from what's that like Norse or whatever. What the hell is that show called?
Yeah, I've seen that one too.
I like that. I want to change that into my I might change that into my Twitter avatar.
Oh.
The people accuse me of making it myself, though. That's the only problem. It's like if I made it myself, it would have been really narcissistic, but somebody else made it. It's just awesome.
You should get a meme scroll going at the beginning of your show. I just have a giant folder of memes that I share.
Luke's not my friend anymore. I don't know how to do any of that shit.
I had to figure out an OBS. Which OBS kind of sucks, by the way. That's why I'm doing Hangouts again. Man, it's better to get Streamlabs, but it's just, man, I just don't like using it as much.
Like, brother, do you have any idea? I've alluded that I'm doing something with my life right now. Okay, I'm not going to give any more details than that, but it involves all of my brain power getting dedicated to learning new software systems that are very hostile. I don't have time to put brain power into Streamlabs.
Well, I literally, when I got a strike recently, I decided I'm going to do Streamlabs on my new channel so I can, get some super chats. And I think I had Race Jacobson, because it was like the dead of night, and Race Jacobson just came on and showed me how to do it. It had like a little live stream I ended up deleting. Yeah, I'm tech illiterate. I don't know how to fucking do any of this shit. I'm like a monkey with a keyboard on this damn thing.
I'll tell you, like, folks, this is also because I'm 37 now or something like that. Guys, I've learned so many of these damn technology. I'm sick of learning new technologies because they decide to change everything. It's like it used to be you wanted to have a group chat in Skype, you just drag the person over. Now you have to go through 3 goddamn menus because that's more convenient. It's like I don't want to spend 3 months learning this new technology and then they change how the damn thing works.
Oh, I hate that, man. The new Skype sucks too.
Oh, and there's actually it no longer notifies me when people message me. I went on the forums to check it out, and there's people that are paying for a Skype phone number for their business. They are losing business because they are not getting notifications. Like, you had one job, Skype. You had one job.
Yeah, it won't. It used to be if somebody messaged you, then that just went to the top of the thing. But now it doesn't do that.
You know, we're going to have to post a. Do you follow the Internet Historian?
Yeah, I love that channel.
We're going to have to post a meme with "We were all friends again." I think the chat is happy that we are talking. I'm happy as well, by the way.
Somebody says Bechtloff boomer status confirmed. Yes, that's one way. I'm quite the boomer. I don't know what I'm doing with any of this shit.
Actually, you know what? I swear to God, the boomers know better. They like learning nowadays. It's like 5-10 years ago, we were the bleeding edge of technology. These days, we are sick of having to change everything and get new email addresses, and MSN Messenger doesn't work anymore. Where the boomers are like, "Oh, I'm trading stocks with my friends all over the world," and oh, God damn it, the boomers ruin everything.
Well, I'm probably going to go ahead and wrap this up. I think we've gone on long enough.
Bechtloff, it was good to be on.
Yeah, thanks for being on. Look, I've said before, like, you know, you can hop on this channel anytime, and you know, that's
well, we're going to be discussing NPCs on Sunday. If you don't exhaust the topic on Saturday, you are more than welcome to join.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I just might do that. I know at 9 I usually do Fallen Angel Cinema where we watch a movie, but now they got that like on D Live now, and I don't even know how to find it. Like, I'm such a boomer. I don't even know where you go to watch it.
Oh. I burned them all to my hard drive, but the hard drive died.
Oh, jeez, I don't know.
Gen Xers. Good Lord, Gen X problems. Why is everything so user-friendly?
But yeah, that's like I said, you know, we started talking about the little drama last night. So, you know, Steele said his piece, you said your piece on that. I'll leave that be.
I don't want any more drama on that. It's again, like, feeding the fuel of drama. I don't think that serves our interests. I don't think that helps anybody. I prefer to let sleeping dogs lie. I'm glad we are friends again, though.
Well, you know, you're welcome on here anytime. As I've said before, you know, you know, I'm not going to stop shitting on the Catholic Church, and I'm not, you know, but that's not a personal thing so much as that's just, you know, I mean, it's in the news like every day.
Try shit on the people that deserve shitting on, not the innocent people. And it's not like your side is perfect virgin snow.
Well, as I've said before, my frustration is the innocent people need to be doing more.
I'd say the same about the people supporting the sex cults.
Well, yeah, anybody that's supporting a lot of these Protestant churches that I look at it like, if you're giving money to these people, you're wrong.
Let's attack the villains, not the labels. Villains are villains wherever they are.
Well, like I said, thanks for calling in. Appreciate it.
Thanks for calling me, brother.
That's all we got for tonight, folks. Thanks for listening. Bechtloff out. Crap. In the wrong button because I'm Boomer Bechtloff over here.